Hey Vault Hunters, JV here, and today I'm sharing a few beginner's tips for first-time players. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell for more Borderlands 3 videos just like this. At the time of recording, it's almost Christmas, which means a lot of people are going to get their hands on new games like Borderlands 3 for the first time. That's why we're going to cover 5 beginner's tips in this video for first-time players. This is designed to give you a general idea of what to expect from Borderlands 3, so you can hit the ground running right when you hit play. Let's get started. Before we talk about anything else, let's establish what is Borderlands 3 as a game. It is a first-person looter shooter with light RPG mechanics. So what you're doing moment to moment is you're gunning down hundreds of enemies, you're racking up experience points, and you're spending those to enhance your character. The gameplay loop, generally speaking, is shoot bad guys, pick up the loot that they drop, optimize your loadout with that stuff, and then rinse and repeat. A lot of games loosely fall into the looter shooter category. That's pretty popular nowadays, but the thing that sets Borderlands 3 apart is the theme and the tone. It's a focus on being ridiculous and irreverent. It's very humorous. So you've got insane guns that just do things no other gun should be able to do. You've got crazy abilities that make you feel really powerful. There's a focus on giving you that rush of, oh my gosh, I just destroyed that enemy. That was insane. This game is set in space in an alternate version of reality, so it's not like this game takes itself seriously in any respect. And it's honestly refreshing compared to most games that come out these days. There is, of course, a story, and it doesn't require you to have played the other games. I know this is Borderlands 3, the third game in a mainline series, but it helps give context if you play those other games, totally not required. The story in this one is about taking down the Calypso twins, and they're their own ridiculous characters themselves who you'll meet and learn more about throughout your playthrough, but they've started their own cult of bandits across the galaxy to help them unlock vaults. And of course, you are vault hunters, so your objective is to stop them. Along the way, you'll meet a host of ridiculous characters who you will grow to love across the game's dozen or so chapters. In a very literal sense, this game is quest-based, which means you're doing missions, you're getting them from quest givers, these characters that you've met, and you can do mission after mission in the main quest line, just kind of A to B if you want to complete the story, but that's really missing out on the experience because there's a ton of side quests and activities to explore that lend a lot to the story, but also build out the world and help you understand why Pandora and the other planets are the way that they are. Also, a lot of them are just flat out funny, so if you appreciate humor in a video game, this is definitely for you. Most videos have a definite ending, and I would say Borderlands 3 makes a case as not being one of those because it's meant to be played over and over to optimize your loadout. Once you've beaten the story, you won't be at the maximum level, and you're given an option to restart the story on a higher difficulty for better loot. And so the idea is to optimize your loadout, farm for the absolute best gear that you can get, and min-max your stats so you can be as powerful as possible. There is an extensive end game. There's a lot of activities to do, and I've made several guides on each of them. So if you'd like to check those out, there's a little pop-up on the screen right now. I recommend you go and check it out, whether you're starting right now, just to get a head start on what you'll be doing later on. Now that we know what kind of game Borderlands 3 is and what to expect, let's talk about choosing a Vault Hunter. This is such an important decision because it defines your identity and your playstyle. It doesn't affect the story at all, it's only a gameplay thing. But you have 4 options in Borderlands 3. You got Flak, Moze, Zane, or Amara. Each Vault Hunter has their own unique abilities and playstyle. Flak uses pets, and he's got an invisibility ability that he uses. Moze calls in a mech like the Titans in Titanfall. Zane uses gadgets and tech like drones and holograms, while Amara is a siren, which basically means she uses space magic. There's a lot of variety within each character. It's a bit difficult to explain on the surface without getting too specific, but for example, Amara can be kitted to be an up-close and personal melee shotgun type character, or she can be spec'd out to deal a lot of damage from far ranges where she's not getting too close and not taking too much damage. Since launch, I believe that Flak and Moze are the 2 most popular Vault Hunters, and they're very good in their own right, but also you got Zane and Amara. They're also fun to play with. So if you're unsure, spend time with each of them until you unlock their action skills, which is like 15 minutes, I believe, into a new game, it gives you a great idea of how they'll work and if you're going to keep enjoying them over the course of many hours. Moving on, let's talk about how guns work, because this is the name of the game. Borderlands is all about the guns, what you're using to pick apart your enemies. In Borderlands 3, there are 9 different gun manufacturers that dictate the way their guns behave. They'll have different stats, different expectations. It's something you'll learn as you play the game. For example, Jacobs have lower fire rates and tend to deal the most damage per bullet. They also usually don't have an element associated with them, but there's a special ability with them too. They ricochet on headshots. So if you consider yourself to be pretty good at first-person shooters and you're really proficient with a marksman weapon, then Jacobs is probably the way to go for you. You'll get the most bang for your buck. So again, this is something that you'll need to pay attention to every time you pick up a weapon. Look at the manufacturer. That'll give you an idea of what to expect. And then as you play more, you'll learn which is your favorite and what to look for. As I mentioned, guns can have elements attached to them, and it changes the type of damage that they deal. And that can make it more or less powerful against the enemies that you're facing. Every single enemy you come across will have one or more resistances that you'll have to poke through in order to kill them. So they'll have just their plain health or flesh. They might have a shield on over that flesh, or they might have armor over a shield over flesh, or just armor over flesh. The best way to describe this, or the way it makes the most sense in my head, is you're playing rock, paper, scissors. So fire is best against normal health or flesh. Shock is best against shields, and then corrosive is best against armor. As long as you follow those rules, you're going to deal bonus damage against that type of resistance, and it's a great way to down enemies that might be giving you trouble, or you just want to be as efficient as possible. Remember, fire against flesh, shock against shields, and corrosive against armor. On the flip side, most of these don't work against the other resistance types, so don't use fire against shields or armor, don't use shock against flesh or armor, and don't use corrosive against flesh or shield. There are other damage types like cryo and radiation that are more niche, more unique in certain situations, but these are the main ones you'll come across. And as long as you understand how to use fire, shock, and corrosive, you'll definitely understand and know how to implement the other two. And like most looter shooters, Borderlands 3 has rarities with their guns and other items. So a quick explanation is white is common, kind of crappy, green is uncommon, a little bit better, blue is rare, purple is epic, and then orange is the rarest and best, usually type, that's legendary. The idea is to get orange or purple in every single slot, and that's going to make you the most powerful you can be, but obviously that's going to take hours upon hours, multiple playthroughs, and farming in the end game in order to achieve. So don't really worry about that in the beginning. Here's a random collection of a few more things to remember on your first playthrough. I went back and played through the first hour or two of the game just to get a refresher on things that were most helpful to me. And the first thing is fast travel. Fast travel is your friend in Borderlands. Use it as much as possible, because throughout the course of your experience, you'll be in a variety of very large maps, and you can make this experience a lot more painful than it needs to be without fast traveling. So you're going to be in various vehicles. A lot of people don't realize you can fast travel to your vehicle in this game, and you can use it to kind of bounce back and forth between objectives. Borderlands is most fun when you're actively doing something. When you're on a quest or you're shooting, whatever it may be, it's not, driving around in a car. So make sure to remember that you can fast travel to many kiosks across every single map, and you can use your car to fast travel. Keep in mind that some quests and enemies are just tough. They are difficult no matter what level you are or what you do or how good you are at video games. It's going to be tough. So if you're having trouble completing a side quest, make sure and pay attention that quests have a level requirement. And sometimes you need to be a level or two above them in order to beat it. The best example for me is Kilovolt. This guy gave me so much trouble in my first playthrough. You'll encounter him, I believe, like after level 10, before level 20 in Promethea. When you come across this guy, just remember to take a deep breath, go do a side quest, level up so you're a bit above him, and also just watch out for his ground tiles. He doesn't have a specific resistance. You just kind of have to outlast him. Borderlands 3 throws a lot of useless crap at you. There's no other way to say it. So what you need to do is pick up and sell everything that you don't use. And your inventory holds all of your items, and you can use it to mark things that you consider junk that you plan on selling in the future, and then just mass sell all of your junk using one single button. Learning to manage your inventory is super important for this game. You can get overwhelmed and even frustrated quickly if you don't learn how to do this. Remember to check your mail, because gun manufacturers will send you free weapons just for using their guns. It's through a challenge system that you're kind of alerted to, but the notification isn't obvious enough, and I'm sure a lot of people miss this. So you need to pause the game, go to the social menu, and then scroll over to the mail icon to find where all of these manufacturers have sent you their guns. It's a free way to get some money, but also you can just deny their gun if you don't need it. My fifth and final beginner tip is to grab some friends to play Borderlands, because if you ask people who are fans of the franchise and the series, they'll say their favorite experience is playing Borderlands co-op. It's playing it with friends and experiencing the experience that is Borderlands together. Luckily, Borderlands 3 makes it really easy to hop in and join a friend or invite them to your game. So if they need help, go help them, or if you need some help or you just want to hang out and play, you can do that very easily. One of my favorite features in this game is the non-competitive loot. It's the cooperation option. It separates the loot drops that you see from the ones that your friends see on their screen. That way, you're not fighting over loot. That was one of my biggest complaints of the previous Borderlands games. I would play with friends, but it would suck because they would always steal that blue shotgun that I wanted on every single playthrough. If you don't have friends playing, but you still want to do some co-op and play with others, you can use the matchmaking system and it'll find players that are at the same spot in the story as you. And also, this is useful if you need just a little bit more firepower taking down an enemy or finishing a quest. And if you don't really want to play with others, you can just continue doing your own thing and drop out of that multiplayer match going forward. As far as co-op goes and dealing with multiplayer and matchmaking, it is super painless and easy to use. All right, those were my 5 beginner's tips for Borderlands 3. Again, my hope is to give you a very general guide for your first time through the game, what to expect, what you should be looking out for, and how to have the best time. If you found this helpful, particularly for your first time playing through the game, consider sticking around. I'm gonna make some guides on the new DLC, Moxxi's Heist. It's about to come out, so if you want to get a head start, remember to subscribe here to my channel. If you enjoyed the video, remember to hit the like button and hit the bell so you don't miss another video. Check the description for links to my social media and to join my community Discord server. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.